Dear students, today we are going to learn about fractions, that is chapter 6. In real life scenarios, all the measured quantities cannot be a perfect whole number. We may have to deal with the parts and portions of whole things, and this is where the concept of fraction comes into the picture. So, let us understand what are fractions. Fractions are the terms used to determine the parts of a whole object. In other words, we can also say that when a whole of something is divided into the number of parts, then each part is referred to as a fraction. You can see the example below. So, fractions are those terms which have numerator as well as denominator. If I divide a pizza into 4 pieces, so each piece will represent 1 by 4. So, therefore, 1 is the numerator and 4 is the denominator. Let's see one more example. When I divide a pizza into 8 pieces, so one piece of the whole pizza is represented as 1 by 8. And here, as you can see the picture, 1 is the numerator and 8 is the denominator. So, a fraction can be considered to be the ratio of two numbers. The upper part is numerator and the lower part is denominator. There are basically three types of fractions. First is proper fraction, second is improper fraction, and third is mixed fraction. Based on the numerator and denominator, except these three major fractions, there are added three more fractions. That is like fraction, unlike fraction, and equivalent fraction. So, in total, there are 6 types of fractions. These are proper fraction, improper fraction, mixed fraction, like fractions, unlike fractions, and equivalent fractions. Remember, the first 3 fractions are defined for a single fraction, but the other 3 fractions determine the comparison between 2 or more fractions. Let's see what is proper fraction. Proper fraction is a fraction where numerator is smaller than its denominator. As you can see the example 3 by 5. We can take other examples also like 6 by 13, 4 by 15, 17 by 30. These all are proper fractions. Remember, the value of proper fraction after further simplification is always less than 1. Yes, here numerator is always less than the denominator. Let's understand what is improper fraction. In improper fraction, a fraction in which the numerator is greater than, or we can say that equivalent to its denominator, are called improper fraction. That is, numerator is greater than denominator. You can see the example 9 by 5. 9 is a larger number and 5 is a smaller number. So that's why it is an improper fraction. Likewise, 13 by 6, 15 by 4, 20 by 17, these all are improper fractions. Note that all the natural numbers are like 1, 2, 3, 4, can be represented in the form of fractions, where the denominator is always equal to 1. Yes, it should not be less than 1. It should always be equal to 1. Let's start with mixed fraction. A fraction that is a combination of a whole number and a proper fraction is called a mixed fraction. All the improper fractions can be written in the form of mixed fraction. As you can see the example 2 whole 1 by 3. So here 2 is a whole number and 1 by 3 is a proper fraction. Another example is 2 whole 1 by 4. Remember, mixed fractions can always be converted into proper fraction, and an improper fraction can be converted into the mixed fraction. And one more point is, a mixed fraction is always, yes, always greater than 1. Let's start with another fraction, that is a like fraction. So, fractions having the same denominators are called like fractions. As you can see the example 1 by 2, 3 by 2, 5 by 2, 7 by 2, these all are like fractions. For simplification, that means you are making these fractions easier. The denominators here are same. And if you want to add these denominators and add these fractions, what you will do? You will add 1 by 2 plus 3 by 2 plus 5 by 2 plus 7 by 2. You will add all the numerators, that is 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7, that is 16, and the denominator will remain 2. So 16 by 2 is equal to 8. Let's start with another example, that is unlike fractions. The fractions which have unequal denominators or different denominators are called unlike fractions. For example, 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, 1 by 5. These all are unlike fractions. Next is, before understanding equivalent fractions, let us understand what is simplest form of fraction. Simplification for such fractions is a little lengthy method, since we need to factorize the denominators first and then simplify them in the case of addition as well as subtraction. Suppose we want to add 1 by 2 and 1 by 3. Then first we will find the LCM of 2 by 3, 2 and 3, which is equal to 6. Now we will multiply 1 by 2 by 3 and 1 by 3 by 2. That is both in numerator as well as in denominator. So the fractions will become 3 by 6 and 2 by 6. Now if we want to add these numbers, we will simply add these, that is 6. 3 by 6 plus 2 by 6 is equal to 5 by 6. Now let's start with the sixth fraction, that is equivalent fraction. As the word denotes equivalent, equivalent means equal to. When two or more fractions have the same results after simplification, so they represent the same portion of the whole, then such fractions are equal to each other. These are called equivalent fractions. For example, 1 by 2 and 2 by 4 are equivalent. 1 by 3 and 3 by 9 are equivalent. Yes, they are equal. Let's see the example. Proper fractions. 2 by 3, 2 by 4, 2 by 5, these all are proper fractions because here the numerator is smaller than the denominator. Let's see the improper fractions. 3 by 2, 4 by 2, 5 by 2, 7 by 4, these are all the improper fractions. Mixed fractions. 4 whole 2 by 3, 2 whole 2 by 5, 1 whole 1 by 3. This is just a small review of the proper fractions, improper fractions as well as mixed fractions. So let's start with frequently asked questions from the chapter fractions. What are the types of fractions? The three major types of fractions are proper fraction, improper fraction and mixed fraction. What is proper fraction? You can give any example? Yes. A proper fraction is a fraction which has its own numerator value less than the denominator. For example, 2 by 3, 6 by 7, 8 by 9 are proper fractions. What are the 6 kinds of fractions? The 6 kinds of fractions are proper fractions, improper fractions, mixed fractions, like fractions, unlike fractions, and equivalent fractions. Explain improper fraction with example. An improper fraction has its numerator greater than the denominator. The examples are 12 by 5, 11 by 3, 9 by 2, 10 by 7, etc. Let's start with the next question. What are like fractions and unlike fractions? Like fractions. When two fractions are having the same denominator, then they are said to be like fractions. For example, 3 by 2 and 5 by 2 are like fractions, as we can perform addition and subtraction operations on them. That is, 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. 8 by 2 is 4. When two fractions are having different denominators, then they are said to be unlike fractions. For example, 3 by 2 and 4 by 3 are improper fractions. So here we have to rationalize the denominators to perform addition as well as subtraction. 3 by 2 plus 4 by 3. Here we will multiply 3 by 2 by 3, numerator as well as denominator, and 4 by 3 by 2 as well as numerator and denominator. So 3 3s are 9 and 2 3s are 6. 4 2s are 8 and 3 2s are 6. So 9 by 6 plus 8 by 6 is equal to 17 by 6. In this way you are going to do fraction chapter. Thank you.